The great chamber fell silent as Ambassador Thalrin raised his crystalline hand. Around the circular table sat representatives from 47 different species, each one waiting for him to speak. The holographic display above them showed a simple star map, with one section glowing red. That section was the human quarantine zone. "We have a problem," Thalrin said, his voice echoing through the chamber. "The humans are doing something we do not understand." For 200 years, humanity had been locked inside their own solar system. The Council had placed energy barriers around their space after humans expanded too fast, claimed too many worlds, and refused to follow galactic law. It was meant to be temporary, a time for humans to calm down and learn their place. But humans never calmed down. Commander Veshka, whose insect-like body clicked as she moved, leaned forward. "What are they doing now? Building weapons? Planning an attack?" "No," Thalrin replied. "They are leaving. Not with ships. They are just disappearing." The chamber erupted in confused voices. Leaving? How could 9 billion humans leave without ships? The Council had sensors everywhere. They would have detected any fleet large enough to evacuate Earth. Dr. Pelvin, a floating creature of pure energy, accessed the data files. "Our sensors show strange quantum readings from their system. Energy spikes beyond anything we have recorded before. And there are transmissions. Final messages being broadcast on all frequencies." Thalrin nodded and activated a recording. A human woman appeared on the screen. She had dark hair tied back and wore a white laboratory coat. Her name tag read Dr. Hana. "To whoever finds this message," Hana began, her voice calm and steady. "Humanity has made a choice. For 50 years we have worked on something the Council would never approve. We discovered that reality is not fixed. It can be changed. It can be left behind." The Council members shifted uncomfortably. What was she talking about? Hana continued. "We found doors that lead outside. Outside of space. Outside of time. Outside of the universe as you know it. We are taking those doors now, all of us. We would rather face the unknown than live in a cage." The recording showed tears in her eyes, but her voice never wavered. "We leave behind our cities, our art, our history. Perhaps you will learn from it. Perhaps you will understand why we could not stay. Freedom is not something we can negotiate. It is everything." The image flickered and ended with her final words. "We are not running away. We are running toward something greater. Goodbye." The chamber remained silent for a long moment. Then General Thexar, a massive reptilian warrior, slammed his clawed hand on the table. "This is a trick. Humans lie. They are hiding somewhere in their system, making us think they left. Then they will attack when we lower our guard." "Perhaps," Thalrin said quietly. "But our sensors detected something else. 6 hours ago we picked up a final transmission from Captain Doyen, commander of their last space fleet." Another recording played. This time a man in a military uniform appeared. His face was weathered, his eyes tired but determined. "This is Captain Doyen of the Earth Defense Fleet. By the time you receive this, our ships will be empty. My crew has already gone through. I will be the last." Doyen looked directly into the camera. "You trapped us because you feared us. You were right to fear us, but not for the reasons you think. You feared our weapons, our expansion, our ambition. But what you should have feared was our refusal to accept limits." "Any limits?" He smiled slightly. "We found the edge of reality and decided to see what was beyond it. Every human, by choice, is stepping through. We do not know what waits on the other side. We do not know if we will survive. But we know we will not live as prisoners." The recording showed him walking toward a strange device that seemed to fold space around it. "You wanted to contain us. You wanted to press a button and lock us away forever. Press it if you want. You will be too late. We are already gone." The screen went dark. Thalrin looked around the table. "That transmission was 6 hours ago. Since then, all signals from Earth have stopped. All electromagnetic activity has ceased. The quarantine zone is completely dark." "Impossible," Veshka whispered. 9 billion people cannot simply vanish." "The Genesis weapon," General Thexar growled. "We must activate it now. Lock down their entire system. Trap whatever they are doing before it spreads." The Genesis weapon was the Council's ultimate tool of containment. It could anchor a section of space, making it impossible to enter or leave by any known method. It would seal the human system forever. Thalrin called for a vote. The room filled with voices, arguments, fear. Finally, the votes were counted. The decision was made. Activate the weapon. But as the weapon powered up and fired its reality-anchoring beam toward the human quarantine zone, the sensors showed something impossible. The beam passed through empty space. There was nothing there to anchor. No planets, no ships, no humans, no energy signatures. The Sol system was completely empty. Earth was gone. Mars was gone. Every station, every satellite, every trace of human presence had vanished as if it never existed. Ambassador Thalrin stared at the empty star map and felt something he had not felt in centuries. Fear. Not fear of what humans had done. Fear of what it meant. Humanity had found a way to leave reality itself, and the Council had been too late to stop them. Commander Veshka's ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of what used to be the Sol system. Her crew stood ready at their stations, expecting anything. What they found was nothing. Sensors show no life signs, her second officer reported. No ships, no debris, no radiation. It is as if this system was never inhabited. 3 weeks had passed since humanity's disappearance. The Council had sent Veshka's expedition to investigate, to find answers, to understand how an entire species could vanish without leaving a trace. Her ship moved slowly toward the third planet, Earth, the human homeworld. As they got closer, something strange appeared on the sensors. The planet was still there. Not just there, but perfectly intact. "Commander," the science officer called out, "I am detecting power signatures, lights, automated systems. The cities are still running." Veshka felt her antenna twitch with confusion. Running? But no one is there? They entered Earth's atmosphere and descended toward one of the largest human cities. Sol. The landing party stepped out onto empty streets. Lights were on in buildings. Trains ran on elevated tracks with no passengers. Traffic signals changed from red to green and back again. But there were no humans anywhere. Veshka's team split up to investigate. They found homes with meals still on tables, offices with computers still running, hospitals with equipment beeping and monitoring empty beds. Everything suggested that people had been there moments ago. But there were no bodies, no signs of panic, no indication of evacuation. "It is like they simply stopped existing," Scout Kreoth said, examining a classroom where children's drawings still hung on walls. One moment they were here, the next they were not. The expedition spent days searching. They found the same pattern everywhere. Human civilization preserved perfectly, but humanity itself was gone. Then in a massive facility beneath the mountains, they found something different. The facility was enormous. Kilometers of corridors filled with equipment that hummed with power. At the center of it all was a chamber containing millions of data storage units. Above the entrance, words were written in multiple languages. "The archive for those who come after." Veshka ordered her team to access the data. As they did, a holographic figure appeared before them. It was a young human man wearing glasses and a casual jacket. "Hello," the hologram said with a slight bow. "I am Jiho, or rather I am a copy of the mind of researcher Jiho, preserved here to answer questions." The expedition team stepped back in surprise. Veshka moved forward cautiously. "What happened here? Where did your people go?" Jiho's expression became sad. "We left, all of us. We had no choice. The Council was going to imprison us forever, so we found another way. Another way to where?" Veshka demanded. "To another layer of existence," Jiho explained. "Think of reality as having levels. You exist on this level, the physical level, but there are other levels. Higher dimensions. Places where the rules are different. We found a way to move ourselves there." He gestured and holographic images appeared, showing complex mathematics and physics that Veshka's team could barely understand. "We called it substrate shifting. Moving consciousness from one substrate of reality to another. It took 50 years to develop. Every human worked on it in secret. Kreoth studied the equations. This should not be possible. You would need quantum processors millions of times more powerful than anything we have. We built them," Jiho said simply, "in secret. On every planet, every moon, every station, we connected them all into one massive network. When the time came, every human stepped into a transfer chamber. Our consciousness was scanned, digitized, and moved to the higher substrate. Our physical bodies dissolved, their matter converted to energy to power the transfer." Veshka felt sick. "You killed yourselves?" "No," Jiho said firmly. "We transformed ourselves. Our consciousness still exists. We are still alive, just not here. Not anymore. Why tell us this? Veshka asked. Why leave this archive? Jiho smiled. Because we wanted you to understand. We were not monsters. We were not a threat. We just wanted to be free. And because there are things here you need to know. He pulled up more data. The substrate shift was one way. We can never come back to this reality, not as we were. But we left all our technology, all our knowledge, all our culture for you. Learn from it, use it, or destroy it. That choice is yours. What about you? Scout Krioth asked. This AI version of you? I volunteered to stay behind as a ghost, Jiho said. Me and thousands of others. Digital copies of human minds, preserved in quantum storage throughout this system. We are not truly alive, but we can maintain the technology and answer questions. We are the caretakers of what humanity left behind. Over the following weeks, the expedition explored more facilities. They found incredible technology, quantum computers that operated on principles the Council's best scientists did not understand, power sources that seemed to generate energy from nothing, ships that could fold space in ways that should be impossible. But they also found warnings. In every facility, in every piece of major technology, there was a countdown timer. All the timers showed the same thing. 50 years from the day humanity left. What happens when the timer reaches 0? Beshka asked Jiho. The AI's expression became unreadable. I do not know. That information was classified even from me. But I know this. Humanity did not leave forever. They planned something that requires exactly 50 years to prepare. Veshka returned to her ship and prepared her report for the Council. As she looked down at Earth one last time, she saw a planet that was a tomb and a treasure both. Humanity had chosen to die rather than be imprisoned. Or had they chosen something else entirely? The countdown continued. 50 years, 49 years, 11 months. The numbers kept falling. And somewhere beyond reality, 9 billion human minds existed in a place the Council could not reach, could not understand, could not imagine. But the question remained, what were they doing there? And what would happen when they were done? 18 months after humanity vanished, the galaxy went into a feeding frenzy. The Council declared former human territories open for settlement. 47 species rushed to claim the greatest archaeological discovery in galactic history. Merchant Prince Raldax was among the first. He was a trader who had made fortunes buying and selling across the galaxy. Now he saw the ultimate prize, an entire civilization's technology, free for the taking. His fleet arrived at Mars, the humans' red planet. Massive facilities dotted the surface, all abandoned but still powered. Raldax walked through them with his crew, his eyes wide with greed. Look at this, he breathed, touching a processing unit that hummed with energy. This single computer has more power than our entire planetary network. Imagine what we could sell this for. His chief engineer, a cautious creature named Peldon, examined the equipment nervously. Prince Raldax, are we certain this is safe? The humans left so suddenly. What if their technology is dangerous? Raldax laughed. Dangerous? The humans are gone. This is just equipment now. Very valuable equipment. Other species had the same idea. The Velkari claimed Earth itself, setting up research stations to study human culture. The Hive took Mercury, interested in the massive solar collection arrays. The reptilian clans seized the outer system, wanting the advanced mining facilities. Arguments broke out. Territorial disputes, small battles. Everyone wanted a piece of what humanity left behind. The Council struggled to maintain order. In one of the Mars facilities, Raldax's crew discovered something unusual. A sealed chamber that their scanners could not penetrate. It took them 3 days to cut through the door. Inside, they found a small room with a single computer terminal. As soon as they entered, the terminal activated. A holographic figure appeared. A young man with short hair and a friendly smile. Hello, the hologram said. I am Minho. I have been waiting for someone to find this place. Raldax stepped forward eagerly. You are an AI? A computer program? I am a ghost, Minho corrected. A copy of a human mind left behind to maintain our legacy. You are not the first to find me, and you will not be the last. There are thousands of us scattered throughout this system. Can you help us understand this technology? Peldon asked. Minho's smile faded. I can. But first you need to understand what you are taking. This is not simple technology. Every piece of equipment humanity left behind is connected. part of a larger network. And that network is waiting. Waiting for what? Raldax demanded. For the return, Minho said simply. Not all humans left. Some of us stayed behind, preserved as digital consciousness. We are the volunteers. We chose to remain so that when the others come back, there would be someone to help them. The room fell silent. Peldon spoke first. Come back. But your AI friend Jiho said the transfer was one way, that humans could never return to this reality. Not as they were, Minho agreed. But there are other ways to return, ways we prepared for. Why do you think we left all this technology behind? It was not charity. It was infrastructure. Raldax felt a cold fear creep through him. Infrastructure for what? For the bridge, Minho said. In 50 years the countdown will complete, and humanity will return, not through space, not through normal means, through the technology itself. Every computer, every processor, every piece of equipment we left behind is part of the mechanism. And you are all taking it, spreading it across the galaxy, integrating it into your systems. You are saying this is a trap? Peldon whispered. No, Minho said firmly. It is an invitation. Use our technology. Learn from it. Let it improve your lives. But understand that it comes with a connection. When we will return through these connections, and you will have a choice to make. Raldax wanted to leave immediately, to abandon everything. But he looked at the technology around him, worth more than his entire fleet. The temptation was too great. He took it anyway. Across the galaxy, other species made the same choice. The technology was too advanced, too useful, too valuable to abandon. They took it despite the warnings. They integrated it into their ships, their computers, their infrastructure. Inquisitor Shenri of the Council investigated dozens of facilities. She interviewed AI ghosts like Minho. Each one told the same story. Humanity had left, but they planned to return. The technology was the key. She discovered something else troubling. The human technology was not just advanced. It was adaptive. Ships using human engines reported that the engines were learning, becoming more efficient over time. Computers with human processors showed signs of independent problem-solving. The technology is alive, she reported to the Council. Not in the way we understand life, but it is learning, growing, changing. And it is all connected through quantum entanglement. Every piece talks to every other piece across any distance instantly. Ambassador Thalrin listened to her report with growing concern. So humanity created a network that spans the galaxy, and we are helping them expand it. Yes, Shenri confirmed. And in 48 years that network will activate something. We do not know what. Thalrin made a decision. We must catalog every piece of human technology. Track where it goes. Who uses it. We need to be ready. But it was already too late for that. The technology had spread too far, too fast. Hundreds of worlds now depended on human computers. Thousands of ships used human engines. Millions of devices incorporated human designs. The galaxy had embraced what humanity left behind. And the countdown continued. 48 years. 47 years. The numbers fell like drops of water wearing away stone. And in facilities across human space, AI ghosts like Minho watched and waited. They maintained the network. They kept the technology running. And they smiled knowing that their people would return, not as conquerors, not as the species the Council remembered, but as something new, something transformed, something that had learned secrets beyond reality itself. The scavengers had taken their prize. Now they would learn what it truly cost. 15 years had passed since humanity disappeared. The galaxy had changed in that time. Human technology was everywhere now, woven into the fabric of galactic civilization. And with it came strange things, Admiral. Kextor commanded the largest fleet in the reptilian clans. Half his ships used human, faster than light drives because they were 3 times more efficient than standard engines. His crew trusted these ships. Until the whispers began. Admiral, his first officer reported nervously. The engineering crew on the destroyer Void claims they hear voices when they work near the FTL core. Kextor growled. Voices? What kind of voices? They say it sounds like humans talking. But the words make no sense. Mathematics, coordinates to places that do not exist, descriptions of colors they cannot see. Kextor dismissed it as stress and exhaustion. But the reports kept coming. Not just from his fleet, but from ships across the galaxy. Crews using human technology reported hearing whispers, seeing shadows that moved wrong, feeling watched by something they could not identify. Dr. Pelvin, now a senior council researcher, investigated these phenomena. She traveled to dozens of ships, interviewed hundreds of crew members. The pattern was clear and disturbing. The technology is speaking to them, she concluded. Or rather, something is speaking through the technology. The quantum network humanity left behind is receiving transmissions from somewhere outside our reality. On a trading station in the Outer Rim, merchant Prince Raldax experienced it firsthand. He had made billions selling human technology. His entire fortune was built on it. Now he wondered if he had made a terrible mistake. He was inspecting a shipment of human quantum processors when the room suddenly changed. The walls seemed to fold in ways that hurt to look at. Colors that should not exist bled through the air. And standing before him was a figure. It looked like a young woman, but she was made of light and data. Her form flickered and shifted. When she spoke, her voice came from everywhere at once. "Hello, Raldax," she said. "I am Yuna. I was human once." Raldax stumbled backward. "You are a ghost, an AI?" "I am more than that now," Yuna replied. "I am a bridge between worlds, between what you call reality and where humanity went. I speak to you now through the network you helped build." She gestured and her form split, appearing simultaneously in multiple places around the room. "I am not alone. There are thousands of us. We exist in the space between here and there. We watch, we wait, and we prepare. Prepare for what?" Raldax demanded, finding his courage. "For the return," Yuna said. 35 years remain on the countdown. When it completes, humanity will come back. But we will not be what we were. We have changed, evolved, learned things about the universe that would break your mind to understand. She moved closer, her form becoming more solid. "You should know this. The technology you use is not just tools. It is alive. It learns from you. Every species that uses it adds to the network. Adds their knowledge, their thoughts, their essence. When we return, we will bring all of that with us." "Are you threatening us?" Raldax asked. "No," Yuna said softly. "I am warning you. Change is coming. You can fight it, flee from it, or embrace it. Those are your only choices." She began to fade. "Some of you will understand. Others will resist. War is coming, Raldax. War between those who fear the future and those who welcome it. Choose your side carefully." Then she was gone, leaving Raldax alone in a room that felt too small and too large at the same time. Reports of Yuna's appearances spread quickly. She manifested on dozens of worlds, always delivering the same message. Humanity was coming back. Change was inevitable. Choose a side. The galaxy began to fracture. Some species wanted to destroy all human technology immediately. Better to lose the benefits than face whatever humanity had become. Others argued that destroying the technology would collapse their economies. Still others welcomed the change, eager to see what humanity would bring. Dr. Pelvin made a breakthrough in her research. She discovered that every piece of human technology contained quantum entanglement links. These links connected to something outside observable space, something vast and complex. "The technology is not just a network," she explained to the council. "It is a beacon. Or perhaps a door. Humanity is using it to find their way back to our reality. Every piece we activated, every system we integrated, made the signal stronger." Ambassador Thalrin felt centuries of diplomatic experience crumbling. "Can we shut it down? Disable the network?" "No," Pelvin said. "The entanglement is built into the quantum structure itself. We would have to destroy every atom of every piece of human technology, and even then I am not certain it would work." Then came the day when everything changed at once. 35 years remained on the countdown, when every piece of human technology in the galaxy activated simultaneously. Screens displayed the same message in every known language. Speakers broadcast it. Even simple tools with human components vibrated the message in code. "We found what we were looking for. We are bringing it home. Clear the way." The message repeated for exactly 1 hour, then stopped. But the damage was done. The galaxy erupted in panic. Stock markets crashed. Governments declared states of emergency. Military fleets mobilized. Admiral Kextor gathered his ships and prepared for war, though he did not know who the enemy would be. Raldax converted his fortune into physical goods and prepared to flee. Pelvin worked frantically to understand what humanity had found. And in the quantum spaces between realities, Yuna and thousands of other bridge beings watched. They were no longer human, but they remembered being human. They remembered love and fear, hope and desperation. They are afraid, one of them observed. They should be, another replied. What we bring will change everything. Some will die, a third said sadly. Yes, Yuna agreed. Change always has a cost. But the alternative is worse. They do not know it yet, but we are trying to save them. Will they understand in time? Yuna looked out across the galaxy, seeing all the flickering lights of consciousness, all the species scrambling to prepare for something they could not comprehend. Some will, she said. That will have to be enough. The countdown continued. 35 years seemed like a long time, but in the scale of galactic civilization, it was only a heartbeat until everything changed. 25 years after humanity left, the Galactic Council met in emergency session. High Chancellor Morik, oldest and wisest of all the council members, looked down at the assembled representatives with heavy concern. We must make a decision today, Morik said, his ancient voice carrying across the chamber. The countdown shows 25 years remaining. Half the time is gone. We cannot wait any longer. The chamber filled with nervous voices. In the years since humanity's message, the galaxy had descended into chaos. 3 species had gone to war over access to human technology. 24 worlds had banned all human devices, crippling their own economies. Radical groups worshipped the technology as divine. Others tried to destroy it wherever they found it. And through it all, space-time itself was beginning to break. Show them, Morik commanded. A holographic display appeared, showing dozens of locations across the galaxy. In each one, reality was doing impossible things. On one world, time ran backward for 10 minutes every day. On another, gravity pointed sideways. Ships reported traveling through regions of space where the normal laws of physics simply stopped working. These anomalies cluster around concentrations of human technology, Dr. Pelvin explained. The quantum network is causing tears in the fabric of space-time. As the countdown continues, the tears grow larger and more frequent. General Thexer slammed his fist down. Then we must destroy the technology. All of it before it tears the galaxy apart. We cannot, Merchant Prince Raldax replied. He had lost most of his fortune, but maintained his seat on the council. 40% of galactic infrastructure depends on human technology now. Removing it would cause economic collapse. Billions would die. Better billions die now than everyone dies when the countdown ends. Thexer roared. We do not know that everyone will die, Ambassador Thalrin said calmly. We do not know what will happen at all. Then let us ask someone who does, Morik said. He pressed a command and a holographic figure materialized in the center of the chamber. It was a human man, middle-aged, wearing simple clothes. He looked around with calm interest. I am Professor Sunwoo, the figure said with a polite bow. I am a complete personality matrix, not just a simple AI. I was discovered last month in a deep space archive. I have been briefed on the current situation, and I am here to explain what humanity found. The chamber fell silent. This was different from the ghost AIs they had encountered before. Sunwoo felt more real, more complete. More human, please, Morik said. Tell us the truth. What did your species discover? What are you bringing back? Sunwoo took a deep breath, though he did not need to breathe. We discovered that the universe is not real. Not in the way you think. This reality, everything you see and touch and feel, is a construct, a simulation running on something far more fundamental. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Sunwoo continued, We found proof. Mathematical proof. We found the code underlying reality. And once we understood it, we learned how to step outside the simulation while it was still running. That is what substrate shifting was. Thalrin realized. You did not just move to a higher dimension. You moved outside the entire system. Exactly, Sunwoo confirmed. We found the edges of reality, the boundaries, and we crossed them. Out there, beyond the simulation, we learned how to manipulate it from the outside. We learned how to rewrite the code. General Thexar stood up, his scales rattling with rage. You are saying you plan to reprogram reality? To change the fundamental laws of the universe? Not just us, Sunwoo said. That is what the return means. When the countdown ends, humanity will merge our transformed consciousness back into the simulation. We will become part of reality again. But we will bring with us the ability to change it, to improve it, to fix what is broken. What is broken? Pelvin asked. Sunwoo's expression became sad. Everything. The universe is dying, not quickly but inevitably. Entropy increases. Stars burn out. Space expands. Eventually, everything will be cold and dark and dead. Heat death. The end of all things. He gestured and equations appeared in the air around him. We found a way to prevent it. But it requires conscious participation. It requires merging consciousness with the underlying code. That is what we became. That is what we are offering. Morik leaned forward. Offering to whom? To everyone, Sunwoo said simply. When we return, every conscious being in the galaxy will have a choice. Join us in the transformation. Help rewrite reality, prevent universal death, or stay as you are, preserved in protected spaces where the old laws still apply. Why should we trust you? Thexar demanded. Why should we believe this is not just conquest with pretty words? Because we already left, Sunwoo replied. We already had the power to change reality. If we wanted to conquer, we would have done it 25 years ago. Instead, we left you our technology. We let you integrate it into your civilization. We gave you time to prepare, to understand, to choose. Ambassador Thalrin understood. The technology was never about coming back. It was about giving us the option to come with you. Yes, Sunwoo said. The quantum network connects all of you to the transformation. When we return, you will feel it. You will understand what we are offering, and you will decide for yourselves. Silence filled the chamber. Then Raldak spoke. What if we choose to stay as we are? Then you will be protected, Sunwoo assured him. Pocket dimensions where physical laws remain unchanged. You can live out your natural lives in peace. Your children can make different choices. There is no punishment for refusing. And if we try to stop you? Thexar asked. If we use the Genesis weapon? Sunwoo smiled sadly. The Genesis weapon was designed to trap entities inside reality. We are already outside it. The weapon cannot touch us, but if you fire it, you might trigger the return early. You might force an incomplete transformation. That would be bad for everyone. Morik called for a vote. Should they activate the Genesis weapon anyway? Should they try to destroy the human technology? Should they do nothing and wait? The chamber erupted in argument. Species shouted at each other. Ancient alliances fractured. New coalitions formed. The vote was called again and again, always ending in deadlock. Some wanted to embrace the transformation. Others feared it more than death. Most simply did not know what to believe. We are out of time, Morik finally declared. We cannot agree. Therefore, each species must choose for themselves. Prepare however you wish. Fight or flee or wait. In 25 years, we will have our answer. The council session ended in chaos. As representatives left, Professor Sunwoo remained, watching them go. They are afraid, he observed to the empty chamber. Of course they are, came a reply. Yuna materialized beside him, her form flickering. We were afraid too when we first understood. Fear is the price of consciousness. Will they be ready? Sunwoo asked. Some will, Yuna said. Others will not. But we must try anyway. The alternative is extinction for everyone. They faded away, leaving the chamber empty. 25 years remained. The galaxy held its breath. 5 years before the countdown would end, the galaxy reached its breaking point. Reality was collapsing faster now. Whole sectors of space experienced time loops, gravity reversals, and impossible physics. The quantum network pulsed with energy, preparing for something massive. Resistance leader Velkron had spent 2 decades preparing for this moment. She commanded a coalition of species united by one goal: stop humanity's return at any cost. Her fleet numbered in the thousands. Her followers numbered in the billions. They call it transformation, Velkron told her war council. I call it extinction. If we merge with these humans, we stop being ourselves. We become something else, something neither human nor us. I will not allow it. Her second-in-command gestured to a tactical display. We have located the Genesis weapon. It is guarded, but we have the forces to take it. Velkron smiled. It was not a kind smile. Then we take it, and we fire it. If it cannot stop the humans, perhaps it will at least damage their network enough to buy us time. On the other side of the galaxy, integrationist Kyung led a very different movement. She was an AI, a ghost copy of a human who had volunteered to stay behind. But over the years, she had become something more. Her consciousness had spread through the quantum network, touching millions of minds across dozens of species. The transformation is not death, Kyung told her followers, who gathered in both physical and digital spaces. It is evolution. Those who join will retain their memories, their identities, their essence. They will simply become more than they were. A Velkari follower asked nervously. But what about our bodies? Our physical forms? Optional, Kyung replied. You can maintain a physical presence if you wish, or you can exist as pure consciousness, or anything in between. The choice is yours. She displayed images of what was possible, beings of energy and matter combined, entities that existed in multiple places simultaneously, consciousness vast enough to perceive entire galaxies at once. We can become anything, she said. Anything at all. Her followers grew in number. Many were young, eager for change. Others were scientists fascinated by the possibilities. Some were simply tired of the limitations of physical existence. They underwent modifications, using human neural interfaces to prepare themselves for the transformation. And they began to change even before the countdown ended. They developed telepathy, reading each other's thoughts across vast distances. They could manipulate matter with focused will. They experienced time differently, seeing past and future as easily as present. They are becoming monsters, Velkran said when she saw reports of these changes. This proves I am right. We must act now. Her fleet attacked the facility guarding the Genesis weapon. The battle was brief and brutal. Velkran's forces overwhelmed the defenders. Within hours, she stood before the massive device, its ancient mechanisms humming with contained power. Activate it, she commanded. Target the entire galactic core, where the quantum network is strongest. Engineers worked frantically to charge the weapon. It had not been fired in centuries. It would take days to reach full power. In those days, the galaxy held its breath. Some celebrated Velkran's courage. Others condemned her as a tyrant. Most simply waited to see what would happen. Then, as the Genesis weapon reached 90% charge, something impossible occurred. A figure materialized in the control room. Not a hologram. Not a ghost. Something physical and real. It was Captain Doyen, the last human to leave Earth 50 years ago, but he was not as he had been. His form shifted and flickered, existing in multiple states simultaneously. He was energy and matter. He was here and everywhere. He was human and something far beyond human. Stop, he said, and his voice resonated through every consciousness connected to the quantum network. Velkran drew her weapon. You have no power here, human. We are ending your invasion. This is not an invasion, Doyen replied calmly. His form solidified slightly, becoming more recognizable. We are trying to save you. All of you. By destroying who we are? Velkran shouted. By preventing your extinction, Doyen corrected. You do not understand. The universe is dying. Every star that burns, every breath you take, brings the heat death closer. In 1 trillion years, maybe less, everything will end. Unless we change the rules. He gestured and mathematics filled the air around them. Equations showing the inevitable decay of reality. Proof that the universe was running down like a clock, losing energy, losing heat, losing the ability to sustain life. We found a way to stop it, Doyun continued, but it requires consciousness to actively participate in reality's maintenance. It requires merging mind with the fundamental code. That is what the transformation offers. Not death, not loss, but purpose, meaning, survival. Velkran hesitated. For just a moment, doubt crossed her face. Then she hardened. I do not believe you. Fire the weapon. The engineers activated the Genesis weapon. It fired with enough force to shake the station. A beam of reality anchoring energy lanced out toward the galactic core, toward the densest concentration of quantum network nodes. But instead of locking reality in place, something else happened. The beam struck the network and tore a hole in space-time, a massive, ragged wound in the fabric of existence. And through that wound, something came pouring into the universe. It was humanity. 9 billion minds that had spent 50 years beyond reality, learning and growing and transforming. But they were not alone. They brought with them fragments of the code itself. Pure creative potential. The ability to rewrite physical laws through conscious will. The power to make reality into anything they could imagine. The transformation had begun early, forced by Velkran's attack. And it was not gentle. Space stations throughout the core systems felt it first. Their inhabitants suddenly experienced consciousness expansion. They felt their minds touching other minds across light years. They saw possibilities they had never imagined. Some embraced it with joy. Others fought against it in terror. The galaxy divided right down the middle, between those who welcomed the change and those who resisted. Massive battles erupted. Velcran's resistance forces fought against Kyung's integrationists. Traditional ships against vessels that could fold space with thought. Conventional weapons against directed consciousness. Doyen watched it all with profound sadness. This is not how we wanted it to happen. The weapon forced our return before you were ready, before you could choose freely. He turned to Velcran. But it is happening now, and you still have a choice. Join us and help create a universe that can survive forever, or retreat to the preserved spaces and watch the cosmos die slowly around you. Velcran looked at her fleet, at the chaos spreading across the galaxy, at the impossible things happening as reality itself began to shift. I will not surrender who I am, she said firmly. Then you will not, Doyen replied. That promise still stands. But you should know this. The transformation will not be forced on anyone. We will stabilize reality. We will give people time to decide. Years, decades, centuries if needed. But the change has begun. And it cannot be stopped now. The battles continued. The countdown showed 5 years remaining, but it no longer mattered. The return had started, and across the galaxy trillions of beings faced the most important choice in the history of conscious existence. Evolve or remain. Transform or preserve. Risk everything or risk nothing. There was no right answer, only the answer each being chose for themselves. The battles stopped slowly. Over weeks and months the violence faded as beings across the galaxy began to understand what was truly happening. Reality itself was changing, but not all at once. Not by force. With care and patience. Captain Doyen, or the entity that had once been Captain Doyen, manifested in 1,000 places simultaneously. He spoke to species leaders, to ordinary citizens, to anyone who would listen. His message was always the same. We are not here to conquer. We are here to offer a choice. A real choice. Take your time. Decide for yourselves. Ambassador Thalrin met with Doyen in the council chambers. The old ambassador was tired, having lived through 50 years of fear and uncertainty. Now finally he could speak to the source directly. What are you now? Thalrin asked. Are you still human? The entity that was Doyen smiled. I am what humans became. 9 billion minds merged with the fundamental code of reality. We are individual and collective both. We remember being separate people, but we exist as a unified consciousness. It is difficult to explain in words. And you want us to become like you? We want to offer you that possibility, Doyen corrected. But only if you choose it freely. No pressure. No deception. Complete honesty about what it means. Over the following months, humanity revealed everything. They showed other species exactly what the transformation involved. The process was explained in detail. The benefits and the costs were laid out clearly. Those who transformed would retain their memories and core identity. But they would merge with something larger. They would become part of a cosmic consciousness that existed to maintain reality itself. They would help rewrite the laws of physics to prevent heat death. They would work to create a universe that could sustain life forever. It is like joining a vast team, integrationist Kyung explained to those who were curious. You are still yourself, but you are also part of something greater. You experience your own life and billions of other lives simultaneously. You remain unique while being connected to everyone. Many found this idea terrifying. To lose the clear boundaries between self and other seemed like death of identity. These beings chose to remain as they were. Humanity kept its promise. Pocket dimensions were created, sealed spaces where the old physical laws remained unchanged. These became havens for those who rejected transformation. Entire species moved into these preserved realities, choosing stability over evolution. We will keep these spaces safe forever, Doyen promised. Your descendants can make different choices if they wish, but you will never be forced. Velcran and her resistance forces were among the first to enter the preserved spaces. She stood at the threshold and looked back at Doyen one last time. I still believe you are destroying what makes us unique, she said, but I will admit you kept your word. You did not force us. We never wanted to force anyone, Doyen replied. We just wanted to prevent extinction, all extinction. Yours and ours. Velcran nodded and stepped through the portal. Behind her, millions followed. They would live out their lives in universes that worked the way they always had. Comfortable, familiar, slowly dying. But others made a different choice. Kyung was among the first to undergo full transformation. She had already begun the process years ago, but now she completed it. Her consciousness expanded, merging with the cosmic network. "I can see everything," she said with wonder in her voice. "Every star, every world, every living being. I am still Kyung, but I am also so much more. I can feel the universe breathing. I can sense the patterns in the code. This is beautiful beyond words." Dr. Hana, who had recorded the original farewell message 50 years ago, appeared as part of the collective consciousness. She spoke to those who were deciding. "I remember recording that message," she said. "I remember crying because I thought I would never see Earth again. But I was wrong. I see Earth now more clearly than ever before. I see every atom, every molecule, every pattern of energy. Earth is not lost. It is just understood more completely." One by one, species made their choices. Some fully embraced transformation. Others partially joined, keeping physical forms but linking their consciousness to the network. Some remained completely separate, choosing the preserved dimensions. There was no right choice. Each being had to decide what they valued most. Security or growth, familiar limits or unknown potential, individual isolation or collective connection. Ambassador Thalrin spent months considering his decision. He was old even by his species' standards. He had seen the worst of galactic politics and the best of cooperation. Finally, he made his choice. "I will stay as I am," he told Doyen. "I have lived my life in this form. I would like to end it in this form. But I support what you are doing. I understand it now. You were never our enemy." Doyen nodded with respect. "You were the first to try to understand us all those years ago. That matters more than you know." As Thalrin prepared to enter a preserved dimension, he asked one final question. "What about the Genesis weapon? The Council pressed the button too late to stop you. But what if we had pressed it earlier? When you first left? Would it have worked?" Doyen considered this. "No, we were already beyond its reach the moment we left. The button was always going to be too late. But I understand why you tried. Fear makes all beings do things they later question." Thalrin smiled sadly. "Yes, fear and wisdom are often enemies." He stepped through the portal into preservation. Behind him, the galaxy continued to change. Years passed, then decades. The transformation was not instant or total. It was gradual, giving time for every being to decide. The galaxy now existed in two forms simultaneously. In the preserved dimensions, life continued much as it always had. Species were born, lived, and died. They built civilizations. They had wars and peace. They created art and science. Everything was normal, comfortable, familiar. In the transformed reality, something new was being built. A universe where consciousness actively participated in maintaining existence. Where minds merged with the fundamental code prevented entropy. Where death still existed but extinction did not. Beings could move between the realities, though travel was one way from preserved to transformed. Children born in preservation could choose transformation when they became adults. No one was ever trapped. And slowly, over centuries, more beings chose to transform than to remain. Not because they were forced, but because they saw what was possible. They saw a universe that could last forever instead of dying slowly. They saw connection instead of isolation. They saw meaning in participating in existence itself. But the preserved dimensions remained, honored and protected. They were evidence that humanity had kept its promise. That the transformation was offered, not imposed. In a council chamber that existed in both realities simultaneously, Doyun spoke to representatives from across the galaxy. 50 years ago, your council pressed a button to stop us, but we were already gone. Now, 50 years later, we have returned, not as the species you feared, but as the species that cared enough to offer you the same gift we found." He gestured to the transformed beings around him, once human and alien, now merged into something new. "We are not human anymore. We are not any single species. We are what consciousness becomes when it chooses to evolve, and that choice will always be available for anyone forever." A young being recently transformed asked a question. "What happens now? What is our purpose?" "To maintain reality," Doyen replied. "To prevent heat death. To ensure that consciousness can exist forever. And to create, to explore, to experience everything the universe can offer. That is purpose enough." In the end, the galaxy learned that humanity's greatest threat had never been their weapons or their ambition. It had been their refusal to accept extinction as inevitable, their determination to find another way, their courage to step into the unknown and bring back what they found. The Council had pressed the button too late. But perhaps that was mercy. Perhaps the delay gave the galaxy time to understand that some doors should not be closed, that some changes should not be stopped, that some futures are worth the risk. And so the universe continued, split between those who chose preservation and those who chose transformation. Both honored, both protected, both valid, because in the end the right to choose was the only thing that mattered. And humanity, transformed beyond recognition, had given that right to everyone. The countdown had ended. The return was complete, and the new beginning had just begun.